All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. You know who it is. It is your boy, Sean Williams, aka Mr. President. And this is the safe room where we have a safe space for entrepreneurs, business owners, anyone here in Toronto that wants to share a story to talk about their personal experience and their professional background. And today, we got a very special guest that we have on the show. And I'm telling you, we're gonna be fed well. Like you see the title of the show, communication is key to success. And I'm not gonna lie, like everyone says that, but the meaning for the show also came back from my days, in high school. I remember a friend used to say this all the time, and I think it just kind of got stuck in my head. And I can't be erased. It just can't be gone. But I love it. And again, we're gonna be talking about communication. And I felt like, okay, this is a very like open-ended subject, but I want to bring in someone that, you guys haven't seen before. Someone that I just met recently too. Just a couple weeks back, I was at the Elevate Tech Festival. And of course, there's like thousands and thousands of people there. But funny enough, I met this person before the tech festival. We connected on LinkedIn because there was a special app for the festival that I was using at the time being. I wanted to connect with people. I messaged her and then we started messaging back on LinkedIn from there. And we said, okay, we got to set up a time to just meet up in person at the festival. And we did that on the first day. It was wonderful. And I was okay, we met up in person. Now we gotta lock something in for the podcast. Now we gotta lock in something for you to come on the safe or to come on the show. So let me do justice and give this person like the proper introduction. So she is a bilingual strategic communications leader with over 20 years of experience helping organizations connect with their audience, navigate change, and foster engagement. She's not only that, she's also a seasoned public speaker. Now, I know for everyone out there, when it comes to public speaking, it's not everyone's, forte. Like there is things in public speaking that people stay away from, but she invites that. So we know that she's not afraid to speak and get on the mic. So I know that she's going to bring all the energy for today. She's also a panel moderator. She's also the founder of Ladies Foodie Club, a community-based social club that organizes monthly networking events at restaurants to build deeper connections. Basically, she's a jack of all trades. She does it all. There's nothing that she can't do, and I'm so excited to have her on the show. So, without further ado, let's bring her on, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Miss Melanie Anthony. Melanie, how's it going? Of
Hi, it's going great. It's going great. I love it. Thank you for the introduction.
course, of course. Listen, we anytime we have a guest, we gotta show love to the guests. We have to go crazy, give them the Grammy Award winning nomination, introduction. That's how we are over here.
I love it. It's like hyping. I love the hype.
Yes, of course, of course. And obviously, we got our chat here. People are going to be sending messages throughout the entire conversation. So, listen, guys, get active. I don't want no dead energy. I need y'all to be on 10. Actually, you know what? Whatever the scale is, I need you to double that. I need the energy to be on like double what the scale is to the max. Because, listen, it's going to be a good conversation. And, Melanie, like I mentioned, we connected first off of LinkedIn, then we met at the Elevate Tech Festival. Just before we get into everything, like, what was the one thing that you remembered when you first met me? Because I kind of want to know. I want to know, like, what was the impression?
Yeah, so I usually like you said, we you added me on LinkedIn and we had that conversation and we're like planning to meet at Elevate Tech. And so yeah, I feel like when I met you, I was like, oh, this person is very young. And I remember it was funny because we're like, oh, I'm in this place. And you're like, oh, I walked to that place now. And then I'm like trying to coordinate where you really are. So it was really funny to kind of like knowing that we didn't have the same sense of direction. That was funny. So I felt like, yeah, I felt that this person was really young and to kind of like see maybe like the wisdom beyond the age is like something that I think is interesting. I really admire that with millennials and like Gen Z. So continue.
I appreciate that a lot. And, I just turned 25 a couple weeks ago. So, I mean, like, we're now in the 25 club. I know people are probably shocked right now. Like, you're only 25. Like,
Yeah,
listen,
only 25, right?
It's like, hey, listen, it is what it is. But I appreciate that, and I remember, yeah, we were kind of lost, like trying to find each other because it's a huge venue. There's like thousands of
It
people
is.
there, so I mean, trying to navigate through that was just like, oh, I'm here. It's like, where are you? No, I'm on the other side. It's like, bro, where are you? I'm just trying to connect with you.
Exactly. I was like, yeah, this person, like, they don't know where they are. Let's see how we can like make it easier to meet. So I think we had a landmark at Google, was it the stand, and that
hmm
was easier for us to find each other.
Definitely, definitely. I see people in the chat are getting active. I see that Chanel's there. I also see that Chris is there. They're the two mainstays. Like they are always like in the chat talking. So I mean, like I know they're going to be bringing the energy. So it's going to be a very great conversation. So like I mentioned, the conversation's about communication. We're going to be talking about your personal background, Melanie, how you got started in the communication sector. Talk a little bit more about public speaking because again, I know that's something that not everyone can master or even step into. So we definitely want to talk about just how you got started with things of that. But before we do that, we have to start with our opening segment, ladies and gentlemen. It's the hot seat. Yes, sir. The hot seat. We have to do it. Melanie, listen, it's not really the hot seat. It's like the cold seat. It's like very chill.
As a chill seat,
Yeah,
it's
like
safe,
honestly,
right?
I might have to change it. Guys, you know what? Let's put it up to for next week. Do we keep it as the hot seat or do we change it to the chill seat? I think we might have to because it's really not spicy enough.
Yeah. I just want to say, like, it's showing special guest Melody. This is Melanie. I don't know if we can change it.
Yeah, like it's all good. It's all good. I think that the team will work on that. But yeah, Melanie, I do have 4 questions, so I just want you to answer them to your best abilities, okay?
Sure.
Cool, cool. Okay, so first one. Outside the work that you do, tell me something about yourself in one sentence.
One sentence. This is hard.
I mean, that's the point. I mean, I'm not trying to make it too easy.
Yeah, I think the life of a party, the chit chat person, the person who would get you to talk more than you intended in the first place, because I'll make you comfortable. Some people I think will say that I'm so comfortable talking that like people get talking to. I used to have like strangers come to me out of the blue and tell me their life story. So I think that's like a little bit of me.
I mean, that's good. I mean, it shows that you're an approachable person. Like people just kind of vibe off of you and your energy. And it's like, oh, I just want to go to that person. And that's what I'm saying. I feel like that's how we connected. Like I was on, the Elevate Tech app that they had for people attending. And I just saw your profile. It was just something about it. Maybe it was the photo itself. Cause like it was like
Yeah,
such a
maybe.
clean headshot. I'm like, wait a minute. It's kind of giving superstar. It's giving model vibes. I was like, I need to meet this person. So I mean, like, I can see that the energy that you have, it attracts people. I think that's a great thing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Of course, of course.
Yeah, I hope that's like the energy that we're bringing to the safe room today, and that I'll keep bringing up in my life, because I really want to attract like great people and great people to be connected with other great people that I connect with them with.
100%. Okay, perfect. So the next question I have here is who are 3 people that you can always lean on towards constructive feedback?
Yeah, I think that was like a tricky one for me because I had to like really think about it. Um, so I feel like the first person I'll say is a friend of mine called Katija,
Mm-hmm.
and she's also from the Indian Ocean. Like, shout out to the Indian Ocean. I come from Mauritius. She comes from Comoros, and she's been a real mentor for me for the past years. And I feel like she always bring like a different perspective to me, and she reminds me of my inner power and a faith. And she's always like giving me that vision that like faith will create miracles or will bring in extraordinary achievements. So keep keeping the hope, keeping believing in myself, and like telling me that the power lies inside as well. Like I don't have to look for it outside.
Okay, perfect. That's beautiful. Is
Yeah,
there
that's
anyone
one.
else? That's one.
Yeah. And then somebody else is like my friend Ildoyel, also known as Dodo. She's a friend and fellow woman in tech, and I feel like she has the wisdom beyond her years. She's a little bit younger than me, and she's also reminding me of the basics when I tend to be, like running with passion and impulsivity. She's like, hey, 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 let's chill. Basics first. And I think we speaks for hours. Sometimes we get like we'll be in the cold in front of my house or in front of her house, speaking for like 6 hours when
Wow.
we were intending just to like speak for like a few minutes, right? And I feel like I can count on her brutal honesty, but also her everlasting support. She's like reminding me that I'm super resourceful, and if there's anyone that can achieve things, like it would be me. Um, so I'll say like get you friends that can do both, brutal honesty, but also everlasting support.
All right. And do you have a third one, or is it just two?
Yes, I have a third one,
Okay.
and so I want to say last but not least, it's like the most important person of all. It's my mother. I was like actually like preparing for this question, like getting emotional, because I feel like my mother is like my teacher, but also the drive behind everything that I was able to achieve till now in my life, because she's always supported me in my wildest endeavors. Like she's always being like doing a little bit of rant. I'm like, what are you trying to make me do again? You know, you're doing this and this. You're doing so many things. But at the same time, it's like your ride or die. Your mentor from the start, right? And talking about storytelling, I want to bring those stories to life, right? She brought me to stages where my very first stages where I was like either doing performance of like poetry or like dance, and she embraced me for who I am. So I feel like most parents nowadays, like that's the meaning of like the best parenting ever, like embracing your child for who they really are. And two stories, like I once participated in a contest when I was not of age, so I was like a minor
Oh, really?
applying for like a drawing contest. Like I said, I'm from Mauritius, so this was like a pan-African competition that asks us to do like drawing of musical instruments in Africa. And I draw the thing, I sent it to the contest, but I'm not of age. And
Mm.
so when we had to like present, I sent in my mom. And she's like, oh my God, what am I going to do there? I'm not a public speaker. How am I going to do that? At this point, I have experienced public speaking already, even as a minor, but she doesn't, right? And so she's like, oh my God, this is not my forte, but she still went with it. She still did it. And we didn't win the competition, but she received so many praises, and I feel like that also comforted her in her own ability to do this for me. And the second story is like I won a lot of competition in my life. So
Mhm.
especially with like writing and communication. So I won a travel writing competition,
Wow.
and I won a trip to Malaysia. Okay. So at the time of the award ceremony where I'm supposed to receive my prize, I'm not in the country. I'm traveling as usual.
Oh my
And so
gosh.
my mom has to go to the award ceremony and collect my prize, but she also had to read a speech that I wrote. So she had to do public speaking too. So I like coach her, to be able to do that. Like I said, this is how you're going to dress up, like show up in
Yep.
those spaces. But again, she did it. And
Wow.
I think like that's like the embodiment of like support. It's like even when people don't feel that they can do this, they will support you, they will show up for you. And that's my mom. And I think her life expression. She always has an expression for every situation in life, and her life's expression are like the best constructive feedback that I can get. So she will often say to me like, Melanie, mets de l'eau dans ton vin. So this is a French saying that says, add water to your wine. You know, like your wine is a little bit intense. So just add some water in it. So it's like her way of saying like, show up in more diplomatic ways.
Mm,
You can say the same thing without being blunt. You can be a little bit more diplomatic, and that's her way of showing it. And also like throughout the struggles that I had in my life, because people's stories is not just about success, right? Like we are talking
right.
about the key to success, but we also face a lot of failures. So when I have those struggles, she will tell me those life expressions, and she says like, patience is bitter, but the fruits are sweet. So that's like
Mm.
what I carry with me as well. Is like, I'm not that the most patient person, but I know that my patience will be bringing its fruits.
Right. That's beautiful. And like again, like I can tell like the storytelling aspect is like guys, I told you like this was going to be a good conversation. Like Melanie's a way with words. Like she can take words and just frame them into a story just like that. So I'm telling you guys, if you're loving everything that she's saying, like I'm telling you, once we get to the main questions, it's gonna get your notepads ready, okay? Get your notepads with your pen.
Thank you.
It's gonna be lots of gems dropped. Okay, I want to go on to the next question quickly for this hot seat segment. So I want you to tell me an interesting fact that you rarely share about yourself.
Yeah, so that's connected to another competition. Um, so I do feel that I'm an open book to people who know me, but I think I don't share enough that when I was 15, I went to the Cannes Film Festival. And how I got there was also through a contest that I won. So it was a movie critique um, writing contest. And so I wrote the critique, I won the contest, and then now I'm going to the Cannes Film Festival through a parallel film festival. It was for juniors, so I was like 15, right?
Hmm.
And I'm so glad that my parents like really supported me in everything that I do, because I was on the verge of doing like a big exam, but I told my parents, I got it. I'll nail the exam. So like I won the competition. I'm going. Like there's no other choice.
It's like
And
forget
so
education, man. Forget education. Like, listen, let me do
yeah,
this. Let me do this film thing. You know.
I mean, like, my parents they knew I was an A plus student all the time. So they weren't like, worried about my education. They knew I would like pass my exams, but they were like, okay, you'll go. We trust you, you go. Um, and so I went to the Cannes Film Festival in that, it's called Festival de Cannes Junior. So it's for like the junior people like 15, 14, and I was like, like walking on the red stairs of Cannes at 15, being photographed, like being with stars. And again, I feel that's revealing to me the power of story, because I used to watch the Cannes Film Festival on TV, and then I always picture myself doing that. And then I wrote the writing competition for the film critique, and when I was there walking on those red stairs and getting to the top, and I really loved the adventure. I really embraced it. I hope to do it again, but yeah, this was like the power of storytelling and the manifestation that happened
Yeah,
within it.
I mean, definitely like manifesting it, praying on it, just like telling yourself like it's gonna happen. So I love that
Yeah,
for you, and that is a unique fact. Usually when people share like a unique fact, it's like a fact itself, but you kind of shared like a moment that you don't really talk
yeah,
about that much, which I think that's a very original answer as well. So I love the fact that you talked about that. Going on to the final question here for this hot seat segment, what is your personal safe room? So to just kind of break it down a little bit deeper, what is a safe space? It could be physical, it could be mental, that allows you to be your authentic self.
yeah. I feel like I have two ways to this question because I was like thinking about a physical space, but also a non-physical space, right? Um, and in terms of physical space, I think like my house is my safe space because it's where I exhale, I reflect, I reset, and I remind myself that like rest is also part of resistance and it's important to us. Um, but I'd say in terms of non-physical space, it's my community. It's especially with ladies foodies, we create a safe space within restaurant, within the community, within the people, the women that are continuously supporting us and coming to our events, because women can come and unload their burdens with us. They can show up authentically. They can share their stories with vulnerability. Nobody's judging each other. And we, on top of that, we are really advocating for each other and we're supporting each other. So I feel like a safe space can be beyond physical space, it can also be your community.
100%. I think just trying to create those space are super important and it's essential because especially for a lot of people who may just need a community to latch on to be more open, whether it's sharing their thoughts or maybe they're unsure about where they're heading in terms of like the work that they're doing professionally. Maybe the direction they're telling themselves is not what they believe they should go into, but sometimes you need a community to push you on and say like no, like you're
Yeah.
doing the right thing. Like you're going the right path. I know for myself when I started this show, I was trying to figure out like what is this leading to? Like I'm just talking on the mic for like an hour, but like what is this actually gonna lead to? And if it wasn't for the folks that kept pushing me saying like don't worry, like it's gonna lead to something. Like I can see you like go out and like do this at events. I can see you doing your own like workshop. I can see you even being on radio. All those things to this point have happened. And that would have
Mhm.
never happened for me if I didn't try to find people that believed in the success that I knew I could attain.
Yeah, exactly. Like, not only did your community provide that safe space, but they're supporting you and believed in you even when you didn't have a vision for yourself. So that's amazing.
Yeah, yeah, and it's amazing for you too, because I know you're doing some incredible stuff as well, and you are trying to bring more change, drive more change to those folks that may not have the space or want to be more of those like leaders for those communities. So I love that you are establishing like a good legacy for yourself.
Thank you. Thank you. It means a lot.
Course, of course. All right, so that's all we have for the hot seat segment. So again, for people who are just coming in, this is the safe room here on Love Bay Radio. We're here with Melanie. We've had a great conversation so far. It's about to get even better. So, like I said, get your notepads, get your pens. There's gonna be lots of gems being dropped. You don't want to miss it. So, y'all need to tap in now because we're not gonna get into the main question. So, Melanie, so like I mentioned at the beginning, you have such a incredible career, especially when it comes to the communication sector, over 20 years. I mean, veteran status. I feel like you should get a medal, honestly, for your recognition and the value that you bring. So I want to ask you just what influenced you to like just dive into like the journey that you're in right now with supporting other organizations and helping them to capture that storytelling aspect because it seems like you have that on lock, like you completely have it on lock just with your own things. But how do you try your best to like, capture that for other organizations? But first off, again, how did you get into communication? Because obviously, like it may not be for everyone. Some people just kind of jump into it. Some people it just falls
Mhm.
right in their lap. And other people says, like, okay, like I actually want to do this. So like how did that journey begin for you? And how did you know you were able to help more organizations with that storytelling aspect?
Yeah, so for me, I was always a chatty person. And I felt like TV was something that was really important to me. And I started my career as a journalist. Again, I knew earlier on that I wanted to do that. Uh, I think I went to like audition at 17 and I was not at age, so had to wait a few more years to get in. But as soon as I finished high school, I started my career as a journalist. So I was like a writer, journalist before, like a reporter, doing like multiple outlets, like media outlets, like magazine, daily newspapers. I also did radio at some point. So I felt like as a journalist, like it was not just about reporting facts. It was also finding an engaging way to do so, right?
Mhm.
So the storytelling was important. And when I switched to corporate communications and public affairs, I work for a lottery company, right?
Mhm.
So that's like the place where like happy stories come from, right? Because you're talking about the stories of a winner, and it's different from Canada where you had to convince people to like be not to remain anonymous, like to share their story, right? So there's like the part of convincing that I had to do, but I felt that I was depicting the winner's stories and the organization story in a way that could highlight the impact.
Mhm.
So how this was changing lives, not only the winners' lives and their family and their relatives and their community, but also how the organization itself was changing lives. Like because the organization was also putting back the money from the lottery in the Mauritian society, like back in Mauritius, right? So that impact was important to me. That storytelling part was important to me. And so I always believe that communication is about connection. We are connecting right now, me and you, but also the people in the chat. So that connection is like an important piece. So it's not just about crafting messages, it's about creating moments that you talked about, right? Moments that will move people, urge them to
Mhm.
do something. So over the years, I saw like how many organizations had powerful missions, but they struggle to express them in ways that can resonate with their audience and like
Right.
engage them, right? So for me, that's what inspired me to help bridge the gap, to translate like be it like values, impact, data into human centered stories. So my journey evolved from like simply telling stories, like I'm telling you, to helping other people discover and own their story. And whether that's like a leadership team navigating change, and they have to communicate about that, or an entrepreneur pitching their business, or a non for profit engaging communities, it's the same. um at the core of it is like what kind of story do they want to tell, how do we connect it to the people, and what is the impact.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And like you mentioned, like there are different like scenarios of how like you've helped so many people, whether it is helping a corporate organization with their like internal communications, being able to be more just communicative with their team, with their employees, or maybe like you mentioned, entrepreneur, business owner looking to like pitch. For a lot of us in the business ecosystem, it's like money and that's it. We have to chase money. We have to keep growing that bottom line. And of course it makes sense. But of course, there are points where you need to evaluate what your business model is right now and figure out, okay, as much as I'm trying to get like funding, maybe it's a grant or a loan, I need to know how to talk about my business as well. I need to bring that storytelling aspect. And if I don't know that, then it might be difficult. I'll just be saying a bunch of like numbers and sound like, hey, we made like 50K in sales, or like we have over 120,000 customers, and like that's great, but sometimes like that can't just be all. Obviously, like there are certain people that's like that's like music to their ears. They're like, ooh, numbers and everything like that. But also you want something that's emotional too. That's not just like,
Exactly.
okay, the numbers are cool, but you talk about like, hey, I got this started because this was a real life situation for me. And it's not just something I came up because it was a fancy idea. This comes from a true pain point, and let me
Exactly.
explain to you like what it was. And then when someone listens to that, it's like, wow, it's like, I mean, yeah, you got the numbers and everything, but like, I'm really invested just based on what you share. Like, it's passionate, it's raw, it's authentic. You're not doing this just to make a quick buck, but because you
Mhm.
care and you want to drive change. So, like you mentioned, it's not only just talking about like, okay, how can we just make you guys look good in terms of just like the regular day to day operations, but also how can you talk about the impact that you've made for your customers, for your clients, but also for your corporation as well.
Exactly. Exactly. And we know that like like I said, story move people, And when people connect to that story, they are able to understand what is the core of your business, where do you want to go, what's the impact you want to do. So that's the power.
Okay, that's amazing. So just a follow-up question. So when it comes to you working, within corporate communications and public affairs, like this was just you, right? Like you didn't have like, let's say, like other contacts that maybe if you want to bring in to help with the process that you had that, capacity to do that. Was it just mostly you working at the forefront with these other organizations when it came to refining that storytelling aspect?
No, so we always like have to work in collaborative ways, right? So if I'm working on a project that demands to be working with a graphic designer, so I would be working with that graphic designer. I did that when I was like writing annual reports, for example, when I'm working for non-for-profits. Like I can be the person doing the strategy for the story, but I need a graphic designer who's going to put that story into illustrations, right? Same for like people who help me doing videos and photography. It's not just me. I build teams too. Like that's the part of like leading. It's doing the strategy, implementing it, but working with people in collaborative ways as well.
Yeah, and I think it's super important to have a team because obviously, like you mentioned, you can't just like help someone with the strategy, but maybe if you need to tell it through another, like, form of like medium, whether it's like social media or maybe through a newsletter, a poster, or whatever the case may be, maybe it's radio, whatever medium works, like you may not have the bandwidth. And it's not to say that, oh, I can't learn this myself, but at the same time, it's like I can just go get someone that can do that task and like everyone knows their responsibilities and we're able to accomplish the goal, meet the objectives as
Hmm.
necessary, and then the person we're working with is satisfied. So I mean, it is important, especially for business owners and entrepreneurs. I feel like, and I say this all the time, the best way you know that you're progressing is when you're starting to build a team. It's
Yeah.
starting when you start to say like, you know what, I can't do this anymore by myself. Like I
I
need
mean, I do
help.
I do a lot by myself. When
Yeah.
I used to have a communication agency and networking agency in Mauritius, and I had that business for like 6 years, working um, in Mauritius, in the UK, and then in Canada as well. So I did a lot. I was like doing the radio script, like even doing the voice on the radio, doing the PR, doing the marketing, doing um, all the communication aspects. But when I had like bigger projects where I needed a videographer, um, a photographer, like I can't be everywhere, right? So I needed to be trusting people to do the skills that they do the best. So you have to trust people as well to know that like those are the people that you can trust to do the best work. Like I won't be able to do the photography. Maybe if I didn't have a lot of responsibility coordinating the events with the client, it would have been different. But because I was doing everything, like I had to trust people that could do the best photography for me, the best videography for me. So it's all about trust, like building that team that can really do the work that reflect your business and gives you like even more clients, you know?
100%. And, it's super important to have a team and build one and just establish a good relationship. I have someone that, like, he helps me when it comes to, like, any big events I got to go to and, like, take photos. Cause usually, like, when I'm at events, I usually just take in the moment. I don't pull
Hmm.
out my phone. No, it doesn't matter what type of event. It could be a networking event, it could be a concert, any showcase. Like, I want to embrace everything. But sometimes if I'm working, it's like, okay, I need to take photos. But again, I want to enjoy the moment or at least like be more aware of like other things, whether it's like I'm doing videography and filming. I don't have the bandwidth to do photos. So I just want to say shout out to Jason. If he's listening to this, like he's like the number one guy for me. Like he'll come with me, he'll take incredible photos. He was there for my 5th year celebration event as well. So he's one of the best, and I can't lie to you. If I didn't have someone like him in my back pocket, then I don't know what I would be doing right now. I'd be struggling to
Hmm.
find someone. So it's important to have a team and just build off of that. Going on to the next question. I want to talk a little bit more about DEI. So, kind of get into that conversation a bit. So, I want to ask you, how was it working in spaces that not only address, DEI, whether it's like a high volume or even a lack thereof, and being able to commit yourself as being like an advocate and a team player to talk about DEI issues or initiatives within the communication space, because of course when we think about DEI it kind of sounds like affirmative action or like this is what a company should have or just to make sure they don't get in trouble. But I feel like we are beyond past that stigma of just putting it because it's like a pretty bow on top. I feel like this should be things that are highly implemented into certain, strategic frameworks for many corporations. But I feel like for you, you really focused a lot on that aspect of it being at the center point in terms of how corporations operate, how they should be interacting with their clients, their stakeholders. So, like, what is something about when it comes to DEI that you try your best to just address more within the work that you're doing?
Yeah, I love this question. And I wish it was like more than an afterthought because for me, working in spaces, like I feel like not every organization thought about DEI in that way. Um, Sometimes it was an afterthought, and that gave me a deep understanding of how representation and language shape belonging, right? When organization are like doing everything in terms of business, like when they don't have that inclusion piece, there's something lacking. And so I've seen like how silence can perpetuate inequity, and how intentional storytelling can change systems. So that's why I push for inclusive narratives and equitable communications practices, not just as like initiative, like good to do, like, but also as like core business strategies. Like how can we transform the business, the organization from within? How can we transform that system to make sure that everybody feels included, right? And I
Hmm.
think for me, that's also important because in tech spaces, I saw that there were gaps. So last June, I organized two inclusive events um, during Toronto Tech Week. I don't know if you know about Toronto Tech Week, but they sort of like decentralized events and they started it
Hmm.
this year. So there's like 300 events that Toronto
Hmm.
Tech Week had within the organization, be it with the core team, but also different people in that space, right? And I felt there was like a gap missing talking about inclusion and equity and accessibility. So I hosted my own event. I organized it, I hosted and moderated a panel on fostering a culture of inclusion, accessibility, and equity in tech and encouraging entrepreneurial innovation. And the people that I had on the panel were amazing. It was Surana Sandhi, who's the CEO of Skills for Change. It's an immigrant and a refugee nonprofit. There was Judy Galvez, the CFO of Nation First, a decentralized platform that focused on empowering indigenous communities through tokenizing, managing, and investing in resources. And there was Dominic Fergus, co founder at Gig, which is a global task and service marketplace, redefining how the 50-year-old plus um, are working with the community and connecting. So for me, it was very important to bring um, diverse and inclusive, often overlooked voices to the conversation, especially when we witness the rollback of those same DI initiatives that you're talking about, right? There are programs that don't exist anymore. So for me, that was like, how can we make spaces for different kind of voices that we are not like they are unheard of or we don't listen to them enough because they are bringing that piece of inclusion, equity, and accessibility. And the second event that I also organized was with Ladies Foodies, the community based social club that I founded. And it's a networking events for women that we do monthly at restaurant to encourage to build deeper connections. And so in June also, because of Tech Week, we did a edition on health tech, and we have a platform, a collaborative platform that's called When Women Know, that brings in the guest speaker. And so we had a guest speaker that was talking about health inequity, right?
Mhm.
Especially with the film of like how to prevent and manage a stroke among women's, like we didn't know what was a sign of stroke, how does it arrive, but women are the most affected by stroke.
Mhm.
So we had the guest speaker, and it's a fellow person from Mauritius, um, Dr. Sandhya Uvashi Gopal, who's a postdoctoral researcher at the KITE Research Institute, Toronto Rehabilitation Institute, and then the University Health Network. And so she has based her whole research and work on like looking at those early signs of stroke and like helping to fight that inequity. So for me, that's like the piece that I'm trying to do with creating those events, is making sure that this is inclusive, that people feel included, and we enlarge the not only enlarge engaging with audience, but also create that expansion of everybody can feel included, and we are including everybody. And I think like in tech and communication as well, stories drive culture. That's like an important piece, right? So
Mhm.
I see my role as being a bridge and also a challenger, advocating for those voices that deserve to be heard, and ensuring that our work reflects the diversity and the audience we serve. Because we are in Canada, we are very diverse. We are from different shades, so that should be reflected in our everyday life, on our panel, on stage, on television, everywhere, right? And I don't just do that for tech, by the way. I did that in all spaces that I worked in or I evolved in. I work for an organization that supported non-for-profit sector, for example.
Mhm.
And I advocated and work on developing like an internal anti-racist microaggression policy within the organization. Um, and I did this in collaboration with my colleagues on a committee. And I did it because it was important not only to transfer the knowledge about what is a microaggression, how can we fight it, like how can we overcome together as a team within that organization, but it was also important for me and for my colleagues to show that we can aim to contribute to a positive culture change, right? We know
Mhm.
that microaggression is happening within that space. How can we contribute to a positive culture change? How can we make it better that people understand this is a microaggression and they know what it is, they recognize the signs, but we also know how to report it and then how to make it happen less within our workspaces. So that's what is important to me.
Yeah, honestly, like the amount of like one-liners you dropped in that was crazy. There was two that just were stuck in my head. You said something about like something perpetuates iniquity. I forgot what it was specifically.
Silence.
Yeah, silence perpetuates iniquity, and then you said intentional storytelling changes systems. I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, yo, I feel like we need to have like a horn, just like press the horn like a da 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 da, because like the amount of bars you were dropping was absolutely insane. But it's so true, and I love that you brought up microaggression because I feel like that's a word that I feel a lot of people might hear about it, but then again, may not know how it is applicable to certain situations. Because obviously, we think about microaggressions just as another form of people being petty. Just like,
Mm.
oh, well, it's like, I don't expect you to like get this done just based on like your like ethnicity or your race or your cultural background. But I think they can very be like diminishing things that devalue someone's skill set or their morale, and like it's very
Mhm.
dangerous, for example, imagine if I were to walk in with my credentials going for a top like 5% firm that's like hiring someone in communications, and then they look at me and just like who is this guy? And then like they start interviewing me, and it's like, oh, where are you from? I'm like, oh, I'm from like North York. It's like where in North York? Like, close to like Jaden Wilson's. Like, oh, really? Wow, like I'm impressed that you've been able to do so much and coming from a
Mm.
neighborhood like this. And it's like, bro, what are you talking about? Like I'll genuinely be confused, not even like mad, but I'm like, what are you talking about? Like I'm lost. Like
and
it's
and this happens every day with
yeah,
so many different people. It happens to immigrants, it happens to people living in certain areas that are stereotyped as, not growing people, but they are educated, they are talented, they come from this specific location. Like, so I mean, like, microaggression can be a longer conversation because defining it has like different areas. There's like racial and non-racial, but the fact that like people are being dismissed or like um told off, um like, it hurts. Like, people describe microaggression as like being hurt by 1,000 paper cuts.
yeah.
That is not something that you can just walk away like lightly, you get hurt and it affects your daily life. So yeah, that for sure should be, everybody should recognize what is a microaggression, and clearly stop doing it. Why are you doing it?
Yeah, I mean, it just goes back to a whole like society. It's this whole societal issue that I feel like needs to be addressed. But again, that's a whole nother conversation for another time. I do want to get into my next question. I got a couple more, and I want to get into our role play exercise. I know that's going to be fun to do. I want you to, detail your roots of getting into public
Hmm.
speaking, because I know for a lot of folks, again, public speaking is kind of like opening Pandora's box. No one wants to try it. No one even wants to step forward to. And I want to make something clear, ladies and gentlemen. Like, I know you're probably thinking, like, oh, Sean, like, you're only saying that because, like, I bet you can do it. Guys, depending on the crowd, like, I will be sweating bullets. I will be like sweating. Like, I would be like panicking. Like, this is the saying I say to myself. I would actually rather speak in front of thousands of people than if you were to pick 10 of my closest like friends. If you do that, I'm going to be like, I don't want to curse because it's a family show, but I'm going to be pooping my pants. Like, that's how scared I would be if I were to talk to like 10 of my closest friends, because like I know they're gonna be roasting me. They're gonna be like, yo,
Mm.
look at this guy. This guy's always man. Like, yo, shut up, bro. We don't want to hear that. Nice. I would rather speak in front of thousands of people. I'm getting too ahead of myself, but what I'm trying to say, Melanie, is like I want you to talk about how you got started into public speaking and how you planted the seed for yourself, not only to get behind, doors and educate people, but also open more doors for women like yourself.
Yeah, for sure. So my I guess my story is like starting in Mauritius, where I'm from. And I feel like I've been taking the stage as a child, very earlier on. Like, my whole family are entertainers in a way. Like, we like to sing, we like to dance, we like to be together, and like do storytelling as well. So very early on, I was doing both things. I remember performing on a huge stage again for a competition, doing poetry, um, in primary school. Like, I was like, I think 7 or 8, and like, and I wasn't designed to do this, I guess. Like, when the teacher asks who wants to do it, I'll just like raise my hand. I was like, yes, I'll do it. But I see that like maybe this also was like some sort of like fostered within my family, because like we didn't prevent children from being their authentic self in a way. Like, if you want to dance, will encourage you. If you want to sing, will encourage you, right? Like, we used to pull out those shows with my cousin at Christmas that we would perform for our parents, right? And our parents enjoyed it. They were like encouraging, they were paying money for it too as well, so I feel like doing like those performance, like dancing, singing, um, doing poetry. I did slam as well. It's a form of poetry. So I never really had like stage fright in a way. And then when I was I started my career as a journalist, like I said. So I, even before doing the career as a journalist, I was in high school and I was going to radio shows, I was going to TV shows, and I was like, and being a youth that engaged, right? At 16, I even like hosted like a major youth concert. Shout out to Mauritius and like Jump Around, if people remember. So that was like 100 thousands of people, like of youth,
Mhm.
and I did that regionally, I did it nationally, like it was like different sort of youth concert. And then at 18 I also won like a national singer songwriter contest, being the leader, like a woman leader with over male musicians. So I don't think I had stage fright. So I guess public speaking came naturally to me in a way, because um, it started as a way to share lessons learned, right? Like often from me navigating spaces where I was the only black woman at the table, or the only African immigrant that's also francophone, So it was about me embracing all the intersections that made me, right?
Mhm.
And over time, it became a platform for empowerment. I began facilitating workshops. Like I said, I did facilitation for workshop for microaggression, for cultural communication, um, but also with ladies foodies, like being that community-based social club. I realized that there's ripple effect to when one woman speaks up, right? Like others feel that they have the permission to do the same. So I curate those events to build deeper connections and encourage those women to be vulnerable and advocate for themselves. And I now intentionally also mentor emerging like BIPOC, like women communicating, um, women communicators, sorry, who wants to be public speakers. We empower, we mentor them, and we create opportunities for them to shine. So whether it's like co-presenting, panel feature, being a public speaker, or like even behind the scenes advocacy, that's what I'm trying to do in that mentorship. So for example, in Ladies Foodies Club, and When Women Know, the platform that brings in the guest speaker, we had people who never been public speaker before, like women of color, and
Mhm.
they never had the stage, they never been a guest speaker before, and to speak at an informal event around a dinner table with other women that feels like their peer, and part of their community, it was easier for them to translate in a bigger stage afterwards. Like for sure we had people that had experience and were really seasoned guest speaker, but we also did it for people who never had that stage before and felt like, oh, I'm not sure I can share, or I'm not sure my story is interesting. And we made them understand that they also can be public speakers and they also can shine, and that their story was relevant to us, but could be relevant to other people too.
Wow. Yeah, that is absolutely incredible. I mean, again, when it comes to public speaking, it's always a double-sided coin where like there are people that are like ready for it and others that are not. But also for the people who are doing it, there's some that fully embrace it because they were born for it. Like hearing some of the backstories you shared, I'm like, it's incredible. Like I'm here, like you done all these contests, you got to do all these crazy moments. I'm like, most of the guests that come on, it's like, yes, they have a couple of like one, two, but it feels like you've done like over 20 different things. And I'm like, like, my goodness, like Melanie's life was like, it was lit. Her childhood was just amazing. But I mean,
Like a cat.
yeah, it's incredible. But like, like I mentioned, there are folks who are like they feel themselves, okay, I'm doing this, and on one side, I feel confident, but the other side, it's like I still get nervous because some people ask me like, "Yo, do you get nervous when you get on your show?" I'm like, there's still a little bit of nerves sometimes because I don't know what the conversation is gonna be like. Maybe I talk to someone and it's like I gotta do a little bit extra work to get them out of their like shell and make them more
Mhm.
comfortable. Other times I have someone like you where it's like it's natural. Like I ain't gotta do much, you know. Like we're just vibing. So I mean, I think for public speaking, it's not only also just a professional type of like thing. It's everyday life. Like when you're speaking
Yeah,
to
it is.
someone, it's every day. You're talking to someone. So from there, like by definition, we're all public speakers. It's just now
Mhm.
there's certain spaces that kind of hint on like someone talking about like their professional experience and giving
Mhm.
information. And now it's like on a higher scale, but if you really look at it, everyone's a public speaker. You may not know it.
Yeah, and it could be like you said, in front of your friends, right? Like for us, our stage as kids was our parents first, right? Like I told you, we were performing in front, me and my cousin, in front of our parents, and they were paying money for it. So that was our first audience.
So I mean, like again, like you start somewhere, but I think it is important for people to understand that with public speaking, you're not pressured. Like you don't have to pressure yourself to like be in front of big crowds. Like again, everyone knows their role and everyone has their own play, their own type of responsibility. I feel like when you're a public speaker, who you are. You don't try to be something you're not. I would
Mhm.
just want to leave it at that. Quickly before we get to the role play, if you could answer this question quickly. I'm gonna try to like shorten it and cut it down a bit because like I'm looking at the time, so I'm trying to be mindful. Just how can people learn from you to excel in the work that you're doing in the settings that you're bringing such tremendous change in, and like where they can share info and champion the next generation of leaders? Like, what would you say is something that you want to leave off as like a takeaway for anyone who's listening that probably wants to step into a role of communication or step in a role as a public speaker? Like, what is one piece of advice or feedback that you would want to share?
Yeah. So I want to stick to the basics. So I encourage people to start from a place of authenticity. So your lived experience. That's like your story right there. That's your expertise, right? In communications, like clarity and empathy go further than perfection. So I also teach the importance of preparation and presence. I feel that's important as well to have as a public speaker. And so if you know your audience, if you can lead with intention, if you can speak with people, not at them. You know when somebody's speaking at you, it's
Yeah.
like you're not listening anymore.
Yeah. It's like, shut
uh,
up, bro. Cut the noise.
exactly. So try to speak with the people and not at them. And having that active listening skill for me is like the change maker because it your inspiration, your true inspiration, will come from observing your surroundings and the people that are part of it, right? If you're starting to talk and you're looking at your audience and they're not responding, you got to change, you got to pivot, right? So that's like an important aspect. And if you can like embed yourself in your audience first and like know what would be areas of interest, it's even better, you know? So be an active listener. And I feel like the final piece is like people gotta share the stage, right? True leadership is making sure that the next generation has room to speak and that their stories are not just like heard but also amplified. So if I'm a public speaker and I'm able to bring some other person on stage with me, that's like even better and creating more amplification than just being me alone and like having the limelight on me, right? So I would encourage people to, like have that preparation piece, have that presence piece, um, like making sure that they are connecting with their audience and then sharing the stage with other people. Collaborate, right?
100%, 100%. Okay, so I want to get now into our role play exercise again. For people who are just tuning in right now, this is the Love Bay Radio. You're listening to the Safe Room, and we're here with Melanie. She has been a phenomenal guest. We've learned a lot in terms of like the communication space that she's helped to support and champion. We talked a little bit about public speaking. We talked a little bit about DEI, how she's been able to curate her own events and really address those touching points. But now I want to get into the role play. So Melanie, let's just pretend like you're not talking to me. This is not Sean. Like I'm someone
Mhm.
different. But let's pretend I'm a corporation. I'm not trying to. I'm trying to think of a name. Like let's just go with this name, man. And listen, for people, if you know, like don't say nothing. Let's just say like I'm Cast Media. That's the name of our corporation for today,
Mhm.
Cast Media, and I'm reaching out to you because I'm looking for your expertise. I'm looking for your help right now. Like we're a new company and we're gonna role play. Just pretend like again, this is just kind of like it's acting. I feel like you'll get it and you'll be a pro in this. Don't worry.
Mhm. And so, what's your core business at Cast Media?
So are we just starting right now? Because we can. Okay.
We
All right. So,
could.
okay. Let's get into it. All right. Perfect. Hello, Melanie. My name is Craig. I am the founder of Cast Media. I reached out to you because I would like to know a little bit more about just how we could potentially work together. So basically, we are a tech-driven company where we work with a lot of clients when it comes to implementing AI agents. So implementing agents into their own systems and making things more efficient when it comes to workflow. We already have a huge clientele. We have like over 100 clients that we work with, but we feel like when it comes to the communication aspect and like really champion the stuff that we do, that we're on the back end of that. We don't have someone particularly working on that and we could use some help. So maybe like you could let us know like on your experience, on your expertise and how we could possibly work together to make something work.
For sure. I feel like your idea of like implementing AI agents to kind of like help like smoothen the process for people is very interesting. But I would encourage you to get to know who is your client, like who is your audience. So maybe tell me a little bit more about like what kind of clients you have, what sort of industries, what do the AI agents do for them?
Yeah, so a lot of our clients are people that work in the healthcare industry. So basically, they're looking to use the AI agents that we implement when it comes to like their website. So making the process for getting a lead for their clients much easier. They feel like a lot of times that it's a little bit difficult because they have such a small team and they want to be able to do other projects, but again, they don't have the bandwidth. So they want us to help implement these AI agents in a way where they can just deal with certain things. So maybe if it's like buying a product or buying a service, it's just easy for them to go to the website and get to the checkout, purchase what they need. Or even if it's booking a call, an appointment, we help them with that when it comes to the AI agents. So given specific prompts that allow for, the system to be more coefficient. But yeah, most of our clients, I would say maybe about 75 to 80% are within the healthcare space. We work with other people that work in fashion, even a bit in sports as well. So like we have a very diverse clientele, I would say.
Mm-hmm. I would say what would be interesting within those three areas of where you have your clients would be to implement like AI agents that like lead with empathy, right? Trying, especially in the healthcare, when people like reach out to an organization in healthcare, they want to be listened to. They want to be connecting with someone who understands. So it would be interesting if those AI agents could gather what would be the main issues that people are reaching out for. So, for example, if it's like buying like a healthcare product or connecting them with like the information that they need, that resources that they need, that those AI agents come with empathy first, right? Like acting like they are here to help, like they've been reached out, but they are showing that they are here to help. So not only like greeting the person and being like, how can I help you, but also being like, which issue are you presenting today, what is the way that I would best um bring value to you. Like, because just being an AI agent, you know how it can feel a little bit like distant and clinical.
Mhm.
So we don't want that in healthcare. We want people to show empathy. So I would say like that would be something that I would insert in the prompts for those AI agent, to be like, hey, Mr. So and so, how can I help you today? Which is the issue that is most urgent to you? What are the steps that you've been going through, and what do you think that is lacking? How can I bring something that will be meaningful to you? You know? And then in
Mhm.
sports and even in fashion, I'd say that's a space where you kind of like, you can anticipate some of the client's needs, if you know them enough. So if you know that your clients, if that makes sense, like your people that you are serving in the sports or the fashion industry, that their clients are looking for specific thing, like maybe the most popular product that they
Mhm.
have, or like the most popular kind of like people that they want to reach, like resources. Again, you
Yeah.
could anticipate those needs and be like, hey, I see that you shop at this place 2 months ago, and you bought like the shorts, the sport shorts. Would you be
Mhm.
interested in the newer version of the shorts, or a different color of the shorts, or like socks that goes with the shorts? You know what I mean? Like shoes that goes with the shorts. Just because you anticipated those needs. Because like what is important as well is that um when your clients are on their website, that they don't miss a beat, but they are still being engaged at like different steps of their shopping or their interaction with your resources or your information on your website. So because sometimes like people like go on one page, they go on the main page, on the second page, and then they are bored, and they just like
Right,
close
right.
the website because you haven't looked at what they've been needing in that
Yeah.
moment. So if you're taking the AI agents to engage with them, then you're not losing them at those stage.
Okay, that's perfect. Okay, I think we should definitely keep in touch because we probably want to just do an upgrade on our AI agent to probably do like a special launch strategy. So we should definitely keep in touch and you can help us with that. And I look forward to talking to you a little bit more about this. This is a great plan, great feedback, and I cannot wait to go more into depth with it.
Amazing. I look forward to that. And if you had like one employee that is doing an amazing job currently at those companies, be it in healthcare or like sports or fashion, that could be the employee that is being mirrored as an AI agent, because that would be the employee that has the best feedback and the best way to engage those clients.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Melanie. We'll keep in
Yep.
touch. All right. Yep. That's pretty much it for the role play. Very simple to understand. I know we're a little bit over time, but things up very very soon. But before we do that, I do want to share a very special message. There's a certain someone who's watching this right now. It's his birthday today, and that special person is my dad. It's my father. So if you're watching
Aw,
this right now, I just want to say happy birthday. The entire family, the Williams household, wants to say happy birthday to you, wishing you nothing but the best. I know how much you
amazing. Happy
sacrifice.
birthday to your dad.
Yes, yes. I know how much you sacrifice, everything that you do for us, and I'm forever grateful. You truly like support me. You are like my ultimate role model as well in terms of just staying consistent, being disciplined and being consistent what I do. And everything that I put in, it's for you, it's for everything. So again, just want to say happy birthday to you. Much love, much love. But that's basically everything for the show tonight. Again, Melanie, thank you for coming on and let the
Thank
lovely people
you.
know where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, they can find me on LinkedIn, Melanie Anthony. They can find us also Ladies Foodies Club on LinkedIn, and we are also on IG, Ladies Foodies Club. Um, So yeah, you can find me on social media basically.
All right, perfect, perfect. Thank you so much. And I see that people in the chat are throwing up the happy birthdays. Yep, happy birthday to Father Williams. You know what it is. You know what it be. Again, and thank you guys for
And there
tuning
was a
in.
question in the chat that was like saying where I'm from. I'm from Mauritius. It's a tiny island east of Africa.
Yes, yes, I believe that was Chris. So Chris, thanks for the question. But again, thank you guys for tuning in. If you want to find us on Instagram, we're at the Safe Room Official. You go check out all of our conversations. Head to Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. Go to the playlist section. You'll see the Safe Room. You get to listen to every conversation from there. But until then, we will be back next week, making sure that you guys tune in to your favorite show here on Love Bay Radio. Until then. We'll see you guys next time.
Thank you, Sean. Amazing host. Thank you so much for having me. Have a
Of
great evening.
course.